Thank you, Karen, and thank you, everyone, for joining together as we talk today about building a structure that supports regions, clubs, and members. My name is Bob Mendelsohn. I live here in Sydney, Australia, but you can hear this is an American accent. We'll talk about how this works where you live. It all starts so innocently, beginning with your own entry into the sport. You go into a venue, you start with a clean slate, an invitation to play, a paddle, a ball. You don't even know what the game is, and then you find yourself not only playing, but playing pretty well, or well enough. And then you have a desire to keep playing and find others who want to play. And then you're infected with the pickle disease, and you want others to be similarly infected. Next slide. So then someone suggests the development of a structure. Maybe we should have a local club. Maybe, hey, we could play the folks down at the other end of town. We could have a tournament or a league. And for whatever reason, you put up your hand to volunteer. Suddenly, everybody calls you and says, where are we meeting? What time is that event? Suddenly, you're the leader. And people ask you questions about the tournament, about leagues, about places to play. And you have to know the answers. And suddenly you're the president or the secretary of something. Now it needs a proper structure. And who's going to build that? Next slide. Building that structure takes a lot of work. First, you want to find a set of people with a good skill set mix, like a treasurer who just loves numbers, or a secretary who doesn't let anything slip. Mind you, they don't walk up and say, hi, I'd like to be the secretary. You just know their persona as you play with them, or you might have known them from elsewhere. You might find a marketing champion, someone who loves to network people. Or how about a sponsorship seeker who loves to go find money from other advertising places, etc. People are our number one resource. They don't even have to be players. The treasurer of Pickleball Australia has not even held the paddle yet. The people that we want are people with potential service roles. That's the first place you're going as you build that structure. Then we gather those people for a one-off meeting to determine who or what you might want to look like in the next season, even maybe in 1 year. Where's the sport going? Who has eyes to see the long haul? Are there other people in your country or state playing who are at a similar state of development? What relationships can you forge with them? Again, it's people, but now not people with potential service roles. Now you want people with vision. The government in your town, state, province, country already would have a set of policies and governing documents which you can use as templates as you formalize your development. This is structural development. Formalizing the development can go as smoothly and as quickly as the volunteer base and volunteer spirit allows. Whoever is driving the course of development has to be faithful in the long haul. This is not a 2-month operation. It's at least 2 years worth of enterprise. After the establishment of the local club or the state association or even the national company with commensurate constitution and bylaws, policies, annual general meetings in place, then you can get back to the basics of your own life. Next, ongoing enterprise of the structure. Here are some ideas that we've employed in Australia that might be useful and helpful to you where you are. I recommend making a date for a planning day where everybody involved buys in and they process this. You might invite a recognized company developer to come and be a facilitator on the day with all the key players in your state or even your country. Without that, you will have no marketing plan, and you need this to create a strategic plan for the company's development over the next 3 to 5 years. I know we were just talking about picking up a paddle and playing, and now we're talking about a 5-year plan. Ask for help. Ask for helpers. Ask, ask, ask. Don't be shy. You might get help, here's a surprise, from local politicians. You might get help from other states or even other countries in your region. I met Karen in Scotland, and I'm guessing that England and Scotland had some kind of collegiality or at least help to one another as they developed the structure in each country. Next, coaching of pickleball has to be watched with care. This sport has to be taught well at every level. Local clubs, a guy who says, yeah, I watched some YouTubes, I want to get out and hit the ball. And if that person hasn't been taught well by a proper trainer, it's not going to be good for the sport down the road. Lock in a relationship with the best trainers and coaches for standardization and international recognition. You're going to have all kinds of items that are associated with that, like rankings, which others are going to be talking about during this forum. Next, insurance matters are often an area of concern, both for players and you need it for management at board of directors level. Don't be sluggish on this. Don't delay, and don't be cheap here either. Legal issues of trademarks and logos have to be secured as soon as possible. We are having a real trouble with trademarks in Australia because people made some legal action long before the company was developed at national level. And as a result, we've got some squabbles. We have to hire lawyers. That's ugly. Somebody might come up with Pickleball Sri Lanka or Pickleball India and label themselves that, and it's merely just a coaching activity by a single person rather than the country name. Legal issues matter. You've got to be on that as early as possible. Then once you have that planning day and the strategic plan, developing a brand and a social presence, well, that's a reality now in the 21st century. Find artists and developers who are good with this, or at least willing to help in this regard, using social media platforms like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and don't forget your own website. Those are all crucial. Not only those platforms, but we in Australia use Meetup, and you've probably got something in your country, which allows for signing up for playtimes and for finding new players all the time. Costs are genuine. And when you develop membership and affiliations, what structure will you use? A federalist, that's bottom up, or a unitary model, top down? Then be realistic. Look to be generous with your own people. They're not only the supply of your ongoing finances, but they are your concern, your preeminent concern. People, they're the backbone of the sport. And then finally on this, suppliers, they're abundant. Watch contract signing with great care. Often those with items to sell are not as interested in you and the sport as they are in their own bottom line. But some are kosher and with whom you will find great worth in partnering. And finally, avoiding burnout. Your entry into the sport was all about your own playing. But this changed to governance issues. When will you get to play again? Make sure you go out there and play, or you'll burn out both your governing and your playing. And crucially, invite others to join subcommittees to relieve the pressure on the original board or committee. They will be the replacements you will desperately need for your own sake and for the sake of the other committee members. Friends, the sport is about competition, it's about fun, and it's social. When you forget any of those three, you will lose.
Excellent. That was great. Let me just get rid of the sharing screen. You've got a nice style about you, nice pace, not overdoing it. Really nice. Excellent. So how did Australia choose its approach with the regions? Is it top down or is it bottoms up?
It's top down, it's unitary. And we really processed that only in February this year when we had a facilitator come to help us walk through what we wanted to be when we grow up. Now, it all started fairly ad hoc, really. People just picked up a ball and started playing and said, come play with me. And people, became games, became groups, became local clubs. But then we had a national body that was merely, I don't even know what it was. It didn't really have governance. It thought it had some, but it was merely an incorporated association. It was like a club in a big island. And when we talked about what it needed to be to be properly governed according to the Australian Institute of Sport, it had to be a company limited by guarantee, not an incorporated association.
Yeah.
So we had to structurally change if we wanted to fit into the national requirements.
Yeah, yeah. And how big a process was that to change from what it was to what it is now?
It was merely a constitutional change and a vote at a special general meeting. Everybody,
easy then.
because the people who were there at that national championships last year just wanted to get back on the court and play. And we said we need to have a meeting.
Yeah.
Said, whatever, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
So we said, look, this is what the government's requiring. Is it okay with you? And they all said, of course.
Right.
Whatever it takes, let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And what is your membership numbers looking like?
We have 700 right now.
Wow.
And we had, before COVID, we had 1,300 players, so that we have almost half of our players as members of a local or state club is phenomenal.
Yeah, yeah.
And we are still pushing and driving people towards local club membership.
Right.
So we expect to be at about 1,300 members 1 year from now.
Right.
Buckle your seatbelt, and 5,000 2 years from now.
Fantastic, fantastic. So what is your target number for 5 years?
I don't think we have that.
You've got a 5-year plan.
We have a 3-year plan.
Oh, 3-year plan. Okay. All right.
I was suggesting a 3 to 5 year plan because I don't know how comfortable people are in their own skin, in their own government, in their own governance.
Right.
3 is minimum for a real proper strategic plan. Ours includes politicians, ours includes media, and World Pickleball Day is going to help us a lot.
Oh, good. I'm really pleased to hear that, because that's the intent, for it to help to grow pickleball globally. So
it's collegial. I mean, we're making a 55-second video which highlights every place where we're playing in country.
Fantastic.
It can be a snapshot, it can be a video, but mostly it'll just be instead of a long list of we're playing at this place, this place, this place, we're going to have pictures, videos, snaps.
That's fantastic.
And that's going to go to the media. We're trying to get a couple national media sources to grab onto this. Mind you, it's not easy in COVID time.
Yeah.
Because in Australia, I mean, we're really, 10-10 is a perfect time. Why is that? Because our football season ends last weekend in September for both rugby league and for Australian Football League, AFL, Aussie Rules. So both of those terminate the week or a week and a half before World Pickleball Day.
Right.
Sports people will be saying, come on, when's cricket on?
Yeah.
And it's not on yet. See, so we're in that perfect place. It's also school holidays.
Yeah.
In a lot of the country. And I think sports people are going to be looking for something to cover instead of just swimmers down at the beach while the kids are at school.
Wow. Well, we didn't know that when we selected the date, but that's awesome.
For us, it seems serendipitous.